Good morning, everybody. This is Roger Thunder with the Red Road channel. Well, we had an I'm going to talk about the drones here. We had an explanation from the Trump administration. Quote, this is what they said as far as what the drones are. I can't believe this, really. I can't believe people are this freaking stupid to accept that explanation, and here it is. The FAA was authorizing the drones for research and various other reasons. Research and various other reasons. I have never heard such a nebulous statement, an open-ended statement in all my life. Let me talk about my credentials here just a little bit, because I did have a past life in aviation, big time, all right? So I have worked with the FAA for years on various things, and when I say worked, I will explain that in a minute, but I am a certified commercial instrument-rated multi-engine pilot with flight instructor rating, which you have to obtain from the FAA, and I know how they work. I know exactly how the FAA works. I know the rules and regulations, the federal aeronautics regulations concerning flying in restricted areas, flying around military bases, flying around airports, just conventional airports. I actually was involved in the certification of an airport in Arizona, and actually it was Arizona and Nevada. It was the Laughlin Bullhead Airport. And when I was there, I was working with the FAA and with the company that I was working for, which was SkyWest Airlines, which is no longer in existence, which morphed into a bigger airline. And in order to get certification for the airport, an FAA Part 135 certification, you had to have a weather station there. And I installed the weather station, and I operated the weather station for this airport in Laughlin and Bullhead. And I also was the station manager there. So I know what I'm talking about with the FAA. As a matter of fact, if you really dig deep into this, let's do a deep dive into this. Let's take the wording of the Trump administration and do a deep dive and look at this thing rationally and lucidly. Number one, the FAA is not a government unto themselves. They have to answer to other organizations, like the Department of Defense, for example, and just the federal government at large. I mean, they have to answer to that. They are not an entity that can make decisions as far as flights over restricted areas like military bases and military reserves. They're all over the place. I have flown near or close to or even through, with permission, restricted airspaces. Now, when some kind of abnormal activity happens, let's say with flights, or let's say they plan on launching a rocket, or on one of these restricted areas, or let's say they plan on unusual activity, let's put it that way. They will post a notice to airmen. It's called a NOTAM, N-O-T-A-M, notice to airmen. And when they post these notices, it's an alert or it's a warning of maybe a dangerous situation that could occur. Now, if you got drones flying all over the New Jersey coast and the Pennsylvania coast and up and down the East Coast, and they are going to appear like they've actually shut down airports, like on Long Island. They've had to shut down the airport because of a dangerous situation that was involved there. There would be a NOTAM on that. There would be a notice to airmen, and it would read something like, beware of unusual activity from aircraft in the vicinity of, let's say, whatever Long Island airport, I forget what the name of that was, that got shut down, and other airports and other facilities. They would post a notice to airmen saying, watch out, we got all kinds of stuff flying around the skies here. It's a danger to you and your passengers if you're like, let's say, a Part 121 or a Part 135 airline. Watch out, because we got drones all over the place, and we know what they are. It doesn't make sense, people. They wouldn't allow for drones in the first place. And these are not drones. You don't have SUV type vehicles flying around. This is just so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's freaking a shame that people don't know about regulations and airspace and all this good shit, all right? They don't have a clue about it. So these people like the congressmen and the mayors and all this stuff that are coming out now and saying, well, I'm glad we got an answer to the situation. And they do say, well, it still doesn't explain things. Let's look at this from another angle. People were almost in panic. They were close to losing it in these areas because of the, let's say, irritant caused by a bunch of aircraft flying around, a bunch of so-called drones flying around in unrestricted airspace, all right? Almost a panic. And so why didn't the last administration say, and it doesn't matter what administration says anything, because they're all liars, basically. They're all lying through their teeth. Why would the previous administration say these are nothing more than aircraft? Okay, these are nothing more than aircraft, the normal aircraft and helicopters and the hobbyist drones that you're seeing here. Nothing to worry about. It's not an incursion into our land by some foreign adversary. Why would they say that there was nothing to worry about and that these drones are normal or allowed or whatever, or doing research? And if they were doing research, why would the government say, in the last administration, we don't know what these, first they say, we don't know what these are, there's been no proof, there's been nothing that we know about, you people are just seeing things, basically. Why would they say that if the FAA was authorized to allow certain aircraft or drones or UFOs or unidentified or UAPs or whatever the fuck you want to call them, excuse my French, but I'm getting angry about this shit. Why would they say that we don't know what they are if the FAA authorized some kind of research? And then let me look at the other wording here, and other various possibilities or other various reasons. That's the exact wording of this statement that was released. Various other reasons. Let me ask you this. These people need to hold the government's feet to the fire and ask, what kind of research? What kind of research? What kind of research would allow SUV-type drones and triangular aircraft and all this kind of stuff? What kind of research are they doing to irritate the hell out of people and cause almost a mass panic on the East Coast and other places? Don't you think it would be important to tell us what kind of research that is? And what are these other various possibilities? That sounds like George Orwell's 1984. That sounds like doublespeak. That sounds like a lie, is what it sounds like. So I'm tired of these people, even on the UAP channels, the supposed channels, that are covering this stuff or that are talking about it. But you still have News Nation out there doing their thing, which is Ross Coulthart revealing that there are secret programs that are in effect that have advanced anti-gravitational capabilities, and they're doing all kinds of experiments with summoning UFOs and experimenting around with this stuff through consciousness and all kinds of other ways. And advanced stuff, okay, which I've talked about before. So like I said in my original premise, this is a government operation. But see, it may not be a government operation that is, according to Ross Coulthart and some other whistleblowers that have come out, this might not be a government operation that is approved like above board type stuff. So the thought is out there that there are lots of military industrial complex companies, okay, like Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and probably numerous others that we don't even know about that have been contracted by the government but not are somehow not under control of the government to conduct these type of incursions or flying around in restricted airspace or above military bases. And meanwhile, you got all these, again, I can't emphasize this enough, what are you going to do? Ignore what the people see out there with their videos and their complaints, and even the mayors and council people, and I can't remember the exact councilman. It was in relation to I wish I could remember the name of the airport on Long Island, but it was shut down. It was a smaller airport. It wasn't a major like JFK or anything like that. This does not make sense. So let's just boil it down to the facts. We got all kinds of drones or UFOs or UAPs or unidentified vehicles that there are no pictures of. Here's another thing. If the FAA authorized these vehicles to be flying around, why is it that they were saying, oh, we can't spot them, they go dark, they can turn off their lights, they can disappear. Why wouldn't the FAA, again, post a notice to airmen and also actually put photographs of what these research vehicles are? Let's see what they look like. Man, we got cameras that can, from outer space, can zoom down and look at the date on a dime on the street. And you're going to tell me that this research, is it that secret? I don't believe any of this, and let me tell you what I do believe. I do believe that this could be the beginnings of mass drone surveillance. We have very advanced drones. We have anti-gravitational. They can travel at high speeds. And what are the possibilities with that? That right there, never mind about, I know about the Star Nation, and I know that the UFOs, the real orbs, the real, let's say, non-human intelligence is looking at this shit, and I don't know if they're going to allow it, really. There's something much more going on here, people, than meets the eye. But everybody should be terrified of one thing, and that one thing is, what if they're starting to incorporate some kind of mass surveillance or of the people of North America or America? Maybe it's a conditioning thing, huh? Maybe they're conditioning people to just accept the fact that we're going to have hundreds of objects in the sky over the cities flying around. Oh, they're just doing research. They're just doing research. How do we know that it isn't for some nefarious reason? Do you trust the government? Obviously, a lot of people don't. After being lied to about several things in a row, one after another, lying about the Ukraine war and who's winning over there, lying about the Middle East and allowing genocide, and just lying and lying. Aren't you sick of the fucking lies? Again, excuse my French, but this is just utter bullshit. They could be, they could be incorporating a mass army of drones to surveil people in the United States. And for what other reasons, we don't know. To track people, to surveil people. The possibilities are limitless as far as nefarious reasons by our own government wanting to spy on it. We already know they spy on every freaking thing we do. Through the phones, through this, through that, through cameras situated everywhere in smart cities, on traffic lights. So you're going to sit there and accept this lame-ass explanation that this is research. The FAA cannot allow authorized vehicles to do research unless they were authorized by the government to say, hey, you know what? This is what's happening. You're going to keep your mouth shut. You're just going to say you authorized it. Not when it comes to the danger of people flying in on commercial aircraft into airports. Hell, we've even had collisions with these things and near misses. And where is the notice to airmen? Where is the notice to the pilot saying, and as a pilot, man, you really want to know this stuff. If you're flying around, if you're coming into a congested area or an airport or anything like that, you want to know if there's bogeys around. You want to know if there's traffic around. You want to know if something is going to suddenly appear that could cause all the souls on your aircraft to depart suddenly through an accident. This is irresponsible, totally irresponsible. I'm calling out to the mayors and to everybody and to the UAP community that everybody wants to be so nice, And the people that think that Trump is a godsend and is going to solve all the problems of America and clean up America and just make everything right on all levels, financial and border-wise and illegal-wise. And yes, I see there is a lot of activity out there as far as ICE raiding all kinds of places, and people are getting nervous about that. If you're Hispanic, also I heard another thing, and I'm going to follow up on this later, about how even native people are being targeted through this thing. I'm not sure about the particulars on that. I'm doing more research on it, and I'll let you know about that later on. But we got something going on here, people, that needs to be revealed, and I have a feeling that it's going to be revealed not by the government or not by anything having to do with the government. I think it's going to be revealed from a higher source, a higher intelligence, the Star Nation, because they're here for other reasons. They're here because we're on the brink of World War III and nuclear annihilation and stuff going on between Russia and Ukraine, and which is a proxy for the has been for the government, the American government. So it's just a real mess, people. It's a real lying, chaotic mess. When it gets to this point, okay, when it gets to this point where there's incursions all over the place, hell, I've seen them out here in Nevada even. They just like kind of hang out in the sky. I've taken pictures of them. We need answers, okay, and we need a reveal, and we need a real disclosure, okay? All the people in the UAP community and UFO community, and I don't know, people like these guys on there. Now, Richard Dolan, I'm waiting for him to come out, because he's usually somebody that is spot on about looking at things and analyzing things and being able to come up with some answers. But this is really almost like when they put a statement out like this about, oh, it's research and various other reasons. That leaves the door wide open. Oh, we told you there were various other reasons. What if these reasons are not good? Not good reasons, not good possibilities, not good for the country as a whole, not good for humanity as a whole. And when I look at the recent whistleblower revelations, whole bunch of people coming out talking about secret government programs and actual contact with non-human intelligence and all this stuff, I also take that with a grain of salt. Because you never know what kind of scenario they're trying to set up here. Whether even, let's say, the independent journalists and things of that nature that come out with these guys that are in very high up strategic special force operations, special operators, Delta Force, Navy SEAL type people that have been assigned to, let's say, crash retrieval and things of this nature, and now they're coming out and saying that there's programs that are based on remote viewing and having consciousness, contact the beings or whatever they are. I look at all this stuff and I just look at it. I just look at it and see how it's going to play out, or what this could possibly be for, because even the independent journalists that come out, even anybody that comes out and starts interviewing, let's say, whistleblowers or people from the Pentagon or ex-admirals or ex-Delta Force or operators or high-tier operators or whatever words you want to use, you have to be extremely cautious. So there's a chaotic situation going on here, and this stuff. And it's funny because supposedly all this stuff went away, and now it's starting to resurge on the news again. There's a resurgence of it. So I'm just putting out a warning, people, that this thing from Trump, this supposed reasonable explanation, is not reasonable at all. It's open-ended. It basically is a fabrication because, again, let me emphasize this, the FAA doesn't do a damn thing without the government's approval. They are part of the government. They are part of the federal government. They are part of the whole, they have to have intricate and intimate contact with all kinds of federal agencies, again, the Department of Defense, it's this Department of Homeland Security, whatever. They can't just go rogue and say, oh, we're going to authorize a bunch of research things here and not inform the government, and then for the government to come out and say, we don't know what these are, you people are seeing things. That needs an explanation right there. And with this statement, it's almost like saying the same thing in a different way. I'm thinking, what did they do? Feed something into AI and say, what would be the best nebulous explanation that people will accept and not question what we're doing? What would be the best explanation? And AI might spit out something like, well, how about the FAA authorized research. What kind of research? What kind of research? What kind of various other possibilities? Various other possibilities. That could include anything from aliens coming in to protection of our, a deflection of the Star Nation coming in and showing themselves, and let's put up a bunch of our own aircraft. Now, some of the theory out there is that we've captured UFO, and we have, I don't know about capturing, but we've retrieved UFOs, all right, and back engineered them, looked at them. If people don't know what that means, you look at them, you look at all the parts, you look at all the metals, you look at all the wiring, you look at all the electronics, and you duplicate it, you back engineer it to where you have something of the same nature. And now they're saying that they're using these back engineered UFO prototypes or types and prototypes or whatever. We're going to use those. Now there's rumors around that they're using those to actually battle the UFOs that they got the reverse engineering from. And this is all out there, people. This is what I'm saying. It's all out there. There's so many stories that would make your head spin, but let's not be deluded into thinking that the government doesn't have far advanced stuff that you don't even know about. You know, if you ride on let's say a commercial aircraft or a 757 or a 767 or the most advanced commercial aircraft going from point A to point B, you got to know that is like, compared to what they have, that's like a covered wagon in the Old West. It's like a bus. It's like the very, very lowest technology on the totem pole, stuff you can see. It's like a freight train compared to a streamliner. I mean, you have no idea what's going on here, and you better get a clue. You better get a clue, you people out there that are government people and mayors, and the citizens need to really speak up right now, because I'm thinking that the only way that there's going to be reveal is to push against the narrative and against the lie until it just breaks wide open. Either that or the Star Nation will just come in and kick ass and take names and take all these things out of the sky. But you can be sure we're at a juncture right now where this stuff is, it's going to be here one minute, it's going to go away the next, just like I said, like it went away for a while, and then all of a sudden it's back in full force. If the Star Nation is making a move, and they have been known to in the past when we were at critical mass with the nuke thing, shutting down nuke bases and stuff, if they're going to make a move, if this continues, they will make a move, because they wouldn't have showed up in the first place unless they knew it was critical. And if they're putting the governments on notice, the governments are going to use everything they can to deflect what's really going on. They're going to put up their own advanced aircraft. They're going to do all kinds of things to make people think that it's something that it isn't. So I don't know what else I can do from a technical point of view. I think I explained it. But I'll tell you one thing right now. In my history with the FAA as let's say a flight instructor, I've had students that have made mistakes. I had one incident of a gentleman that was taking flight instruction from me and then finally took his check ride and was one of the best pilots that I have ever trained. Ex-military. And he made the mistake one day in San Diego of flying just a little bit too low in the restricted airspace of Miramar Naval Air Station. And they got on his ass good. And because I was his flight instructor, they came to me, and I actually had to go into the office and sort things out. But I gave that pilot the best training in the world, and even the guy that certified him, an FAA check airman, stood in my corner and said, hey, this guy sends me the best students. If he made a mistake, it was because of his own fault, not because he didn't have the proper training. Wasn't paying attention, or just, and stuff like this happens. So that guy was like 100 feet in an airspace, just barely on the edge of it, that he wasn't supposed to be in. So you're going to tell me that they're going to allow drones to fly in all kinds of spaces like this, restricted airspaces, and near military bases and air traffic control zones and all this stuff? They're just going to allow hundreds of these things? Doesn't make sense. This ain't happening, baby. This is a lie. Okay? It's basically a lie. That is not allowed. If something like this was happening around air bases and commercial airports, the FAA would know even beforehand if there was some kind of situation where they had to warn people. There was no warning at all. So let's not just gullibly swallow this shit, all right? And think that that's the end of it. No, that isn't the end of it. This is just the beginning of another giant falsehood and lie. So I think I've given enough evidence today. You can believe me or you can not believe me. But I'm telling you right now, when I heard that explanation, I was sitting, actually I was sitting on the edge of my seat waiting to see what Trump was going to say and what he was going to reveal about the drones. And to shuck this off on where's the FAA? Where's their statement on this? Are they a scapegoat, a fall guy? Just doing what the government tells them? I just can't believe this. I can't believe that people. Now I can understand how stupid and gullible the public could be because they're ignorant of any kind of rules and regulations or FARs or anything like that. They know nothing about this stuff, so I can give them a pass. But what I can't do is I can't give the UAP community a pass, and most of these guys out there are just stupid. They're just in it for sensationalism and to get more views on their channel and whatever, to promote themselves. They'll go along with this and they'll sensationalize and they'll do all kinds of things. But they don't have a freaking clue about the rules and regulations, most of these guys, airspace regulations, what pilots do, what the FAA does, what the FAA will allow and won't allow. Because according to this narrative, the research trumps safety. No pun intended. If you're going to do research, well, hell with safety and passengers on airliners. And if you're flying on the airlines right now, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even fly as a pilot. I wouldn't even take a commercial flight right now. Not on your life. So you can take it for what it's worth, but this is an alert. This is a warning. This is a lie. And I thought I had to get this video out and say that. Pretty angry about this, really. Pretty upset. That they would take advantage of you people out there just because you don't know the rules and regulations. So you should pass this video around. Hell, make it go viral. I don't know, share it with your loved ones or whoever. But you need to get this out there, and I'm sure YouTube, GlueTube, BoobTube, if they're in collusion with this by any means or whatever, might not it might get stifled as it usually does. Hell, I get 4,000 videos, 4,000 views on the dog soldiers, which was awesome, of past history that I do of the indigenous people on this channel. I get 4,000 or 5,000 views, or I get 10,000 views on the Hopi or this and that. But when it comes to stuff like this, what? 60 views, 80 views? Are you freaking kidding me? What does that tell you? Let's stifle this shit. We don't want this getting out. I would love to do some interviews on some of these channels, these UAP channels, if anybody's listening. I would love to do some interviews with anybody and talk about this all day long. Hell, I'll pull out my volume of federal air regulations, the FARs, Part 160, Part 21. Hell, I can't even remember now. Part 135, Part 121. And all the rules and regulations that go on. One last thing, even out here in this valley where I'm at, we had a woman that was an aerobatic pilot, and she was out here and doing aerobatics, and she was like at least 1,000, 2,000 feet up in the air. And the residents in this sparsely populated area got irritated and started calling the FAA. Even though she was completely legal in what she was doing. So, I can just imagine in a crowded city with all kinds of activity above you, that people are wondering about. The FAA never even really, before this happened, I don't even think they really came out with a statement about the only thing that might have come out. They always want to say it's these little tiny drones, these little drones that people can buy at Walmart and Amazon. And are you freaking kidding me? I got some swampland in Florida that I'll sell you real cheap. Maybe I'll even sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. Wake up, people, and get with it. So anyway, I guess I'll leave it there, and I want you to think about this and pass it on, because it's a blatant freaking lie. All right? And then it isn't one that they're going to get away with if I can help it, or a lot of other people that are like, what? What? Where's all the pilots out there too? That's what I want to know. Why aren't I seeing videos from other pilots? You guys are dropping the ball here. You guys are dropping the ball. You current commercial pilots and you current pilots of any nature. I'm kind of wondering why nobody else is saying, hey, this isn't this has nothing to do with what they're talking about here. Let us enlighten you. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I had to rant and rave, and I had to get this out because, and I let it simmer for a couple of days. I let it simmer for a day and a half or whatever, marinate. I was just walking around shaking my head. I was just walking around going, I got to think about this. I got to think about what they're really trying to do here. And I've come up with some plausible explanations on this that you should consider, that I mentioned in this video. So I'll leave it there and then try to get back to some regular programming. So anyway, I do all this because I care about my brothers and sisters in humanity and just the nation in general. It's gone south, people, and don't be all enthralled, you patriots and all these other people, because Trump's seemingly kicking ass on the aliens, and he's doing the ICE thing, and he's doing this, and he's making big changes, and a lot of people think, well, that stuff's more important than talking about drones, or is it? Is it more important? I'll say it's important. You know, I'll say that some of the stuff that is happening right now, and Trump is blowing some minds. He's blowing a lot of people, the woke people, the transgender people, the illegal aliens. Supposedly, it looks like pretty much he's kicking ass on all that stuff and causing a lot of fright and a lot of fear. But you just gotta wonder. You just gotta wonder how far this is going to go, where this is going, and it'll be real interesting to see. So I'll just leave it there saying, Wopila, thank you. Subscribe to my Substack in the show notes. Support this channel. And until next time, aho.